Hello everyone. I hope you all are done with your Anaconda installation to your system. So if not, you just go to the official website of Anaconda and you have these options to install it. And once it will install, it will look like this on your system. So once this part is done, we can launch a notebook to write a particular code. So here is the Jupyter notebook that we are going to use to write Python code. So you can launch it from there on as well, and you can simply uh, find or search to your system and you can launch it, click over it, and it will by default open to your browser, to your default browser. And let's say you want to create a new file where you're going to write a code. So you just click on new and Python 3, and this is how it will work. And here you can give it a name like Python 1 or Python start, any name you can give it. And this is how when we are ready to write the Python code here. But before going to start it, I recommend you to go through with the Jupyter notebook, that how it works, what are the different options available. So spend some time to explore it so that you can get familiar with it, that how it works and all. And we have that help menu as well to get all the help related to the different stuff altogether. And this part that you see here, we call it a cell. So we can include so many cells here, and we write as per a requirement. You can write a specific code to these cells, and by default if you select any cells, it code the default option is code. That means it will be considered as a code if you write anything here. And in case you don't write a code, you want to mark down it or you want to tell something about it, so you can take any of these options. For example, for heading, let's say you want to talk about variables, so it will look like a heading. And to run this cell, you simply click on this run, or you can use shift plus enter. And I was talking about the second option, which was markdown. So markdown is like if you write variable here and you run it, it will look like this. That was the heading. That's a normal markdown part. And let's say if you talk about the row NB convert, so it will also similar to the markdown, but this time it will come into a cell if you run it. Let me write it correctly. Here it goes. So this is how we can use the other three options, the markdown, row, NB convert, and heading. But if you select code and if you write something like that variable here, it will throw error. You cannot pass anything into a code like that, because we have some rules to write some string and all, so we have to use it like that. So that was the part that I have conveyed you. Now let's talk about in case we are going to write a code. So before initiating a code, we are going to talk about the variables. So variable is like you can consider variable, it's like a bucket where we're going to store something. So here, let's say in case you want to store any information, you need some place to put it. So variable is like that. So let's say I want to for example, I have put it about, that's a variable, and I'm going to assign like my name is Sadhna. That's what I'm going to store into this about variable. So whenever I need that information, I'll call about and this information will come to me. So just to run this, I told you that you have to use shift enter or simply click on that run. And now this value has been assigned to it. If I call about, you see that it has been there in this. So you can call it anywhere into this entire cell. Let's say if I call about here, then also it will give the same output. So this is how we can assign a variable to it. Now, you must be thinking that why I have put it those codes around this text. So whatever we write in text, the value that we are going to assign, if it is into the text or in a string, we have to put that into quotes, either single or double. You can use any quotes. Now I have assigned this value to it. If I'll call it, I can get that value. So for example, in Python, about is a variable, and in case you want to check the data type of that variable, so that's depend on that how we have assigned value to that about variable. So type is a function to check that, and you want to check for check the type for what? You want to check the type of about. So it has given a string. You have not explain before creating a variable that this variable is going to be a string. But what specific thing that you did, that you put quotes. Although without quotes you cannot pass any text into a code, it will throw error. But if you want to showcase or store that variable and consider to that as a code, you have to put that into quotes. So this is how we can define a variable, and it can be in any data type. Like we can have a different data type to have it. Here it was a string. Let's say if I pass something like that, n equals to like this, any numeric value. If I call n, and let's say if I check the type of n, I can directly write, let's say I'm going to write print n here so that I can display n, and I'm going to write print. Print is a function to display that part. Print type n. So once I'll run it, no, I don't need to write that as type. I can directly, because it will be a class. So you see that this time it has given the value of n and the type of n, which is integer. Previously it was a string, but now it is integer. So if you do any calculation to this, it will work. Can you see? But if you do any calculation to about, it will not work. The arithmetic calculation, right? It will not work. What's the error it has given for string variable? Can only concatenate a string, not integer to string, right? But this is how we can, I'll showcase you some other way to handle it, but this is just to make you understand what's the difference between a string and integer. Here on a very layman term is the same one. Now we talked about integer, we talked about string. Let's say I define something like that, which is a float value, and if I check the first, I'll print n1 and then I'll check the type of n1 so that I can see that what exactly the type it has showcased. So that's the float value. That's what we can see. Now let's say if I write something like this, I have taken as new variable which is n2, and if I write like this, so if I call n2 and if I check the type of n2, you will see that will be a boolean value, right? We have to write print to display that. So I missed to write print, and here it goes. So it will give you true and false. So 3 is not greater than 10, that's why it has given false. And if you make changes here, let's say you make it 3 less than 10, so it will give true to us, but that's a boolean value. So how many data types we discussed today? We talked about a string where we have to put everything into quotes, either single or double, right? And we talked about the integer in which we can perform any arithmetic operation, and we talked about float, that is just a decimal value, and we have true and false, which we call a boolean value, right? So we talked about these 4 data types altogether. So one thing that you must have noticed here, while defining string, I was using a different variable name, and in case it was integer, I was using a different variable name, and exactly the same I was doing for float and boolean. But in case I need a structure where I want to store different data type altogether, so here with these variable types and all, I cannot do it. So I need some different structure where might be I'm storing a data of my students, in which I'm going to store their name as well, which is a string. I'm going to store their the, let's say the age, that is also an integer. In case I'm going to store their height, or let's say weight or something, maybe a kind of a float value. In case I'm going to check that whether they are going to coming to that particular or joining that batch or not, so that may be a boolean value. So just to give you the idea, in case I'm going to store create a structure where I'll be having a different data type altogether. So this way it will not work if I have to create a separate variable for different data type. But in Python, I have a different structure to handle this situation. We call it a list. So list is a one which we are going to create with square brackets, and in which we can store multiple data type altogether. Not only store, we can perform multiple operation on those data. How we are going to do it? Let's do it practically with some sample list creation. So I told you that this is a list. One thing that you have to remember, never give a name list while creating a list. You can use any name, but not this the list one. So I've taken name L1 this time, and I'm going to use square brackets. That's why I told you that you have to use square bracket to create the list. And I told you that I can have a different data type altogether. So that's character, that's numeric, and we have float as well, and we have boolean too. So this is how we can have multiple values altogether. If I call L1, and this time also I'm going to check the type of L1, you will see that will be a list. So how Python knows that it's a list? Because of those square brackets. In case I put something, let me create here, in those parentheses, and if I write, like, let's say character, numeric, float, and boolean, but that time that will not be a list. If I check the type of L2, that will be a tuple. That's a different structure. So you have to take care of it. List will be having those square brackets, right? Parenthesis makes a huge difference in Python, that you have to remember. So for list, you are going to always use square brackets. So that was the list. So what all other things that we can do on that list? Let me tell you one by one. So first you're going to write the name of your list. Here my list name is L1, then dot, and you're going to press tab to get all the compatible options of that list. You see the list of all the compatible functions that we can apply on L1. So L1 is a list which we have created. So these are the things that we can perform. These are the operation you can see we can perform on this list. So one thing I'm telling you, that whenever you're going to use any function, just try to understand the meaning of their name. Whatever the name says, exactly the same thing they are going to do with that. So the first one is append. Append is a function. So if I say function, just use a small parenthesis. Like type was also the function, print was also the function, and you must have noticed that I have used small parentheses. So whenever you see the default function which was created by Python, or let's say we are going to create our own function later, so we always use small parentheses to call that function. So here for append I have used small parentheses. So append basically add something to the existing list. In case I want to add hi once again, or let's say hello, so it will be added as a last element to that current list. So you see that hello has been added. In case you want to add more than one element, you cannot pass directly, it will throw error. What error it has showcased you? That append takes exactly one argument to given. What is argument? Argument is the value that you pass here. So hello is the one argument. And here we have used two arguments, one as hi and second as hello. So this is what we call argument. Now let's say if I pass this value, let me copy and paste it, and I put square bracket around this like this. Let me scroll it a bit down, and I have put it hi and hello in list. Basically I'm going to append a list to the existing L1 list which is there. So you see that some changes to your output. Hi and hello has been added as a list, not a particular element. So which is starts from comma and goes till this particular position. You see that's a one value here in this list. Now append is basically adding a particular element as a last position. In case you want to pass more than one argument, without list parenthesis you cannot pass, but if you pass it with list parenthesis, it will be considered as a list inside a list, right? Let's talk about the next function, which is clear. So which is going to clear your entire list. So I'm not going to run it. You can run it, otherwise I have to call it once again. What is the next function? Copy. Copy is basically to make a copy of L1, and we need to store it to a new list, or we can call it a variable. So I'm going to store L1 to new underscore L1. So if I call new underscore L1, it is quite similar to L1. It's a copy of L1, you can see, right? What is the next option that we can apply? the count basically it will give you the frequency or the number of occurrence for a particular record. In case I want to check that how many times 45 was there in this list, you see that it occurs only once. Let's say we have 10 times 45, so it will give you 10. And if in case you write something which is not there in that list, so it will, if I check my name which is not there in my list, so it will give 0. So we have 0 count for sadhana in this list. So this is how we are going to do. And the next option is basically extend. Extend works two ways. Let me give you the example for both. I have passed a string to L1, and if I call L1, you will see that A, B, C has been bifurcated. It was a string and it has been bifurcated as a particular element. Now we, in case I wanted to add A, B and C with append, I have to run that code thrice, once for A, then for B, then for C. So in case you want to do something like that, you can use extend to do it quite quickly. Other way to use extend is you can add multiple element to this list, but in square bracket. Let's say I want to add, let's say 45, and let's say sadhana, anything. I mean, and then I'll run L1 and you see that 45 and sadhana has been added. So in case you want to add more than one element, you can use extend, but you have to pass those list parentheses. Previously I have used list parentheses in append as well, and you have noticed that it has added as a list, not a particular element, but this time it has been added as element, right? So this is how extend works. What is the next option? Index basically the position, that how at which position that particular element is there in Python, or let's say whatever you write. Let me take an example to explain you that how indexing works. For example, if I write Python, so this is going to take any particular memory from the backend. We are going to store it from front end. Obviously, this is going to take any memory from the backend. So what we call it, like it takes a particular block. So Python, if we write Python, we have block assigned to this, like P is at 0 index, Y is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So P is at 0, Y is at 1, T is 2, H is at 3, O is 4, and N is at 5 index. So if I write it as a string here, you will notice this part. And if I give it a name, let's say check, let's say P1, the name I have given. And if I do something like this, P1, we call the index call 0, you will see P1 is not O, basically that's 0. You see that it's P is at 0 index. If I pass 1, you will see Y. So basically anything that is stored from the front end, that's take a particular memory, and we count it from 0, not from 1. So in Python, indexing starts from 0. So let me give you the idea here. Position, or we can say indexing, starts from 0 in Python. So here anything which is separated by comma in this list, let's say high is there. So high is at 0 index. So if I pass L1, high into that index function, exactly the same high, it will give us 0, because high is at 0 index. In case we want to check index for a particular position, we can pass directly to that value here. Let's say if I pass hello, this is at 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I type 45 without quotes, because that's a numeric value, it will give 1 to me. I have to remove that like this. So you can easily understand that every record is to a specific position. In case you want to extract a particular value, you should know at which position this is. So this is how index works. Index will give you the position of each and every element which is there in that list. So what is the next option? We have insert. Insert basically, in case you want to add any element to a specific position in existing list. we can use insert in that way. So what is L1? uh, Here I'm going to pass it directly. The first is the position. Let's say I want to add sadhana to 0 index. So if I call L1 now, you see that sadhana has been added at 0 index. Our list has been extended, so this time it comes like that. So this time if you type check the count of sadhanas, it will give 2 to you. You see that sadhana is twice there in this list, right? So we talked about this. Let's talk about the next option. What pop does, pops basically removes the last element. So this time the last sadhana has been removed. If I call L1, you see sadhana is not there. If I'll again run pop, you will see that 45 will not there. If I again run pop, you see that C will not there. So this is how pop works. In case I want to remove to a specific position, I can pass in pop like that. For example, this time I want to remove this particular false. So what is the position for false? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I pass 4 here, you will see false will not there. So pop works in two ways. By default, it removes or deletes the last element of the list. In case you want to delete a specific element, you should know the position of that. And how to know the position? You can use an index for it. For example, I want to remove 7.75, but I don't know the position of it. How can we get the position? We can run index and we can directly pass 7.75. It's 3. So if I pass L1 dot pop and if I pass 3 to this and I again call L1, you will see that 7.75 will not be there. So this is how pop works. Might be you may have query. Let's say we have multiple occurrences for the same value. How it works? It takes the first occurrence. In case you want to delete all, we have to customize our code. So we are going to talk those part later. What is the next option? Remove. Remove and pop both basically are there to remove a particular element, but pop works for a position or index, but remove directly remove any element. So let's say you pass 45 there, it will remove it. If I call L1, you see remove will not be there. So remove works on element or particular value, but pop works for a position to delete a particular element from that existing list. So this is how it works. What is the next option? The reverse one. Reverse is to make the first index as last and last as first. You see that sadhana was the first index, now it has become last. B was the last, now it has become first. Basically just to reverse it. What is the next option? We have sort. Sort is not going to work here because we have two different data types altogether. We have list. Oh yes, we have list and a string. Might be if we had some other values too. Let me pass append and any numeric value to that. If I'll it will not work. So if you run it, it will not work, although we have list as well. So this way it will not work. So let me give you the scenario how sort works. I'm going to create a new list. So I'll be passing all the values as character. So some dummy data, I'm going to pass it. And here it goes. And once I'll run it and I'll do the sorting over it, you will see it will be alphabetically sorted. Here it goes. D, E, H, Z. Alphabetically sorted. We can create a new list to check it on a numeric value as well. And here it goes. So if I'll apply sorting over it, sort the L3 as well. So this is how. But if we have two instances all together, it will not work. Let me create one more list here with two instances. So let's say I have passed A and I have passed some numeric value and more numeric, and here it goes. So if I'll apply sorting over it, it will throw error. And what is the error? That it's not supported between instances of integer and string. So that you have to take care, because obviously we cannot sort it the two different data types altogether. So this is how it works. So I believe we are done with all the functions what we covered today. Let me explain one by one. These are the all functions that we covered in list. First was the append. In case you want to add any element to the existing list, you can append, use append function. In case you want to clear the entire list, we can use a clear function. Let me run clear here for L4, so that you can see that if you run clear, L4 will be an empty list for you. So that's the empty one, right? So what are the other? It was the copy function. So copy was in case you want to make a copy of the list and store it to a different list, you can create that copy using a copy function. And in case you want to count the frequency of a particular record which is there in that list, you can use a count function. Extend is in case you want to add multiple elements all together, we can use extend. Index to know the position of a specific element which is there in that list. And insert is in case you want to add something to a specific position. We can pass two argument to insert, like at what position, and the second argument is the value, that at what position we want to add that value. Then we have pop by default removes the last element, but in case you want to remove a specific position, you can pass that position to pop function. Remove works for element. In case you want to remove any element, you can directly pass it to a remove function and it will work. Reverse will make your list just the opposite. The first index is last and last is first. And then we have sort function just to sort your list either in alphabetical order or in if we do have integer value, then it's an incremented way, this ascending order. We can make it descending as well, but the ascending order is the default one. So these are the all functions that we covered today for the list. And apart from this, we have talked about the different data types that we do have and how to define a variable and all. In next class, we're going to talk about the different structures like tuple, dictionary, set and all. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much. Take care.